Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it guys. So today I wanted to talk about 5 aircraft that need to be added ASAP in my opinion before the FOX-3 4th gen 90s aircraft after the patch is released, after this patch was released, right? The Attila one. So after that we got the F-16C, the MiG-29 SMT, the MatAWG, the AV-8B+, and yeah, I wanted to talk about 5 aircraft that I think are needed, especially in like a patch like this next one in the October patch, before we go to the December patch, which is the one that I think we will get the most amount of fighters and advanced systems and FOX-3 missiles and 90 stuff basically, right? So let's start with the F-15. The F-15 is an incredible aircraft, the Eagle, you know. Without the M120s that are going to be added later probably, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to be added right now. It had an incredible radar, it had incredible performance, but it is more or less similar-ish to the performance of top tier right now, you know. So it would have a little bit more range in the radar than some of the other counterparts like the F-16C and even the MiG-29 SMT maybe. But even without that, it would still use the Sparrows, it would still use the A9M or L, you know. And to be honest, I talk about the F-15 more for Japan and Israel than the US itself. The US doesn't need an F-15, although it would be cool to see it. It's not a absolutely necessary aircraft addition, right? But for Japan especially, but also Israel, I think it would be a very interesting option. You know, it's an aircraft that even without the counter of the Su-27, it would still be counterable, and especially for Japan, it would make it so that it's right there on top, you know, fighting the other aircraft that we already have in the game. So the F-15 is the first one. And the second one is also an American aircraft, the F-18, especially the F-18C. Of course, the US probably should get it. You know, it's very weird when the US doesn't get their own aircraft like the AV-8B+ that was added in the last patch, but there is a factor that I think there is a nation that is one of the ones that will suffer the most. It might not be necessary because the Gripen is probably very near, but if the Gripen takes a little bit more time to be added, the F-18C could be added as a Finnish aircraft for the Swedish tech tree, so that it can actually have a proper top tier aircraft and not just the vegan that we have right now that doesn't really stand a chance against the more advanced 4th generations aircraft. Although it can do well and in the right hands it can kill a lot of fighters, it is still on the back foot, you know. It's still more of a 3rd generation aircraft than anything else, right? The missiles are still AIM-9Ls and the Skyflash is bad. It's a bad missile for top tier, right? It can be used, but it's not the most amazing thing ever, right? And the F-18C would suffice to actually help Swedish mains to actually remain competitive before the Gripen. As I said, of course, if the Gripen comes, there's no really need for now for the F-18 to come, but still, if they're going to delay that Gripen for some reason or something like that, which I doubt, the F-18 would be a very viable option. Of course, there are some other minor variants of it, like the CF-18 for the UK even, while the UK waits for the Eurofighter, but I don't know, it feels weird as well. I mean, it would be very cool, but I don't know if Gaijin will want to do that. And of course, the Americans would probably receive one, not that they need anything, but still, it is a cool aircraft to have. Of course, the idea of this whole list is just to try to balance things out a little bit more, right? To the minor nations especially. Minor nations, quote unquote, right? Then the third one, the J-10A. The J-10A is a Chinese aircraft. It was a very interesting design. It is, if I want to say, it is like the MiG-29 or F-16 of China. You know, the light fighter, very nimble, very light. It uses a delta wing design with a inverted canard, so the canards are on the front. So it is an aircraft that is very, very similar to something like the Eurofighter and something like that in the performance of turning in certain situations. So it is a very, very capable aircraft, right? And the initial variants actually use the PL-8, which is a missile that is already in the game, together with the PL-8Bs and stuff, which would have an IRCCM and stuff, so that would be cool as well. And of course the PL-11, it could actually take 6 missiles carrying 2 PL-11s, which is the Aspide missile, so it could for sure be added right now without causing too many troubles. And I gotta be honest, I still think that China needs something a little bit better. I mean, the MLU is pretty cool, but at least add the AIM-9M for the MLU, you know, or something like that. So yeah, that would be cool. And then we go for the 4th aircraft, and that is related to China as well, the Mirage 2000-5. It's an aircraft that, you know, it's completely perfectly capable of dealing with the top tier aircraft that we have in the game. And, you know, it would be a very cool option for China as well. It would help China the Chinese tech tree to actually have a properly good top tier aircraft to fight against the others as well, together with the MLU if it ever receives the AIM-9M or the J-10 if we ever get that. Okay, so the Mirage 2000-5 would be very cool. The 5th one and the final one, I think it's a more of a, I mean, there's not many other aircraft that can be added to this nation. So yeah, Germany, the F4F ICE, or the ICE, right? The improved F4F that was developed to carry, it was basically a modification developed to carry the APG-65 radar, the original radar of the F-18s, right? And together with that, you would be able to fire the AIM-120s, okay? But another little thing is that it could actually carry the AIM-9LI, which is a version of the AIM-9L that the Germans had that was more or less an AIM-9M, you know, it was a upgraded AIM-9L. So it would be cool to see an F4 that receives that as a preparation for the FOX-3's, because once we get the FOX-3's, and if we don't get the Eurofighter in the first patch that the FOX-3's are added, which is normally likely to happen, the F4F ICE would be there to actually kind of bridge the gap between the F4F and the MiG-29 that we have right now to the Eurofighter era, you know. So it wouldn't be better than anything else, but it would help to have another option for the top tiers of Germany to actually get. And these are the 5 aircraft that I think should be added before the top tier revamp with the FOX-3 missiles coming fairly soon, I think. Of course, there are some honorable mentions. Obviously, the Su-27S NSK for the USSR in China. It would be a very, very good aircraft. I mean, I don't think they need anything like this right now, but because it would be a little bit too OP, but still, it would be very, very cool to have it, especially for China. It would definitely use it as its full, in its full potentials. And obviously, as I said, the Gripen can be added in the future and stuff, and I think they should just go for it and try to get that kind of level of performance as quickly as possible, because if not, this is where we kind of lie on, you know, on aircraft that are not really like capable of dealing with the aircraft that are being added right now, which is something that is happening right now unless they add this type of thing like this, right? So it's problematic the way the balance is right now, I think, and I think it will be a soonish future that we will see balancing coming up, but definitely is needed. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what are your favorite 5 aircraft that need to be added before the FOX-3 missiles are added, for balancing purposes, of course. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye. See ya.